If this is for kids, no, this is not for kids. This is for grown-ups. I'm addressing those who are up in age. I'm actually addressing anybody that's over 21, but really older folks who are midlife, who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Midlife isn't 30s. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm addressing those folks too. This whole thing with Malcolm Jamal Warner, has, really struck a nerve with America because, he was on a great show that was very positive, especially for African Americans, or should I say Black Americans. And he seemed to have always still continued to have a positive life and wanted to do positive things. Um, I was watching a few things today that brought him up, and I was like, you know, he stayed out of the news, and he didn't do, he just lived his life, tried to be normal as possible. He tried to take a lot of positive things that he was taught and shown, on the Cosby Show. And even though what happened with Bill Cosby, he still took the positivity out of it and tried to, beam it forward, including some of the other cast members. But what I'm on here about is not just about Malcolm Jamal, but I'm just doing a reflection of us that are up in age. My daughter graduated out of high school like 2 summers ago, and I've been on party mode ever since. And the reason I say that is, if you have kids, if you have more than one, I bow down and salute you for that, because having kids are not easy. Being responsible for your children is not easy. And I think when she graduated, it took a lot of the pressure for me off of me of being responsible for her life and her decisions. And if you have kids, if you really, deep down and involved with them and all that, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. You don't feel like there's this responsibility of guiding them as much as you did when they were, adolescents, and when they were like under the age of 18. When they're 18, under the age of 18, you are solely a lot responsible for your children and for your child or whatever, and for what's going on with them. You got to make sure that they're going to school. You got to make sure they're fed. You got to make sure they're clothed. You got to kind of just make sure they're happy to a certain extent. Make sure they have, room and board. If you don't have a room for them, at least you have something where they can like sleep somewhere. And so, a lot of times, I know I look like a wolf today. I'm supposed to get this done possibly tomorrow, now that I think about it. But anyway, you're solely responsible for them, and you want to do what's best for them. And don't get me wrong, you're not totally out of the woods with them. They're gonna always be your children. You're gonna always feel responsible for them. You're gonna always want, their happiness, to be there. So you still do for them. You still help them. But my thing is, it was just like this weight lifted off of me when she graduated, and at the time too, she was 18. But it was like when she turned 18, yeah, that was fine. But when she graduated out of high school, I was like, hallelujah. It's just something about that. And see, I was paying tuition. And even whether you're paying tuition or not, it was just the fact of, I made sure she did finish high school. And it was just right there trying to see and encourage her, what does she want to do next? And that's the trick. The trick is seeing what they're going to do next, seeing who they're going to be involved with, seeing if, thank God she's not in any relationship, and that she doesn't, I'm not worried about that issue. My thing is, I still want her to do something that she can make money in the future, where me and mom, she won't have to depend on us. And we told her, if something happens to mom and dad, you out there on your own. You got to do, your thing. And we're as far as she's concerned, we're the top two people that would ever do 100% for her. And a lot of nowadays, it's very hard to depend on other folks like aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandfathers and grandpas and all that, especially grandparents, because grandparents out there partying now, real hard. They not staying at home taking care of no kids. They'll tell you in a minute, them your kids. You take care of them. I'll watch them every blue moon, but if I got something to do, somewhere to go, I'm not watching them. So we try to tell her, hey, the same thing in a way. Do your thing out there. Do what you have to do. Live your life. But the thing is, getting back on why I got on here. If you're at a certain age, you got to think about your mortality. You got to think about being out here, living. I'm sorry, I'm like over 50. I'm not trying to live under a rock when you get a certain age, all that stuff about what you got to do and how you got to be and all that goes out the window. Man, when I turned 21, at that moment I thought I had to be like, okay, I'm a grown adult now, I got to conduct myself a certain way. And you don't. You just be yourself. If you enjoy dressing a certain way, keep dressing that way. If you enjoy doing things, keep doing that. You're not too old to play video games. You're not too old to go and hang out with the fellas and all that. Even if you're married, it depends. That's just me. I'm just saying. Now, if you one of them untrustworthy people, that's a whole different ball game, a whole different story. But my whole thing is, you got to live your life. You only have one life to live. I'm not saying going out here and go buck wild doing the most. I'm saying get out here and enjoy yourself. Enjoy your time off. Enjoy yourself with your family. Don't forget your family time. Enjoy your family. Because when your kids get older, they're not going to be wanting to be around you like they used to. Or they're not going to, they're going to have their own lives, their own friends, their own people. Just like we did, So my thing is, since my daughter graduated like 2 summers ago, I just been like trying to enjoy myself, enjoy everything, that I can do, every moment I can do it when I'm off, instead of constantly working, constantly worried about, I got to get her to school. Is she getting to school on time? Is she getting up on time? She's got to make sure she's doing her test. She's got to get I want her to get good grades. And, you still, like I said, you still like that with your kids, but it's like their responsibilities when they get up there in age. You don't have to sit there and totally hold their hands anymore. In fact, mine, and I'm sure a lot of y'all are out there like, I don't need you to hold my hand anymore. Let it go. Let me do what I want to do. And it hurts. And I'm even cringing at the moment she's going to say, hey, I want to move out. And some of these things I'm talking about, some of you been there, done that. Some of you on your way to that. Some of you probably going through that right now. I don't know, but I'm just saying, even when she was younger, I was like cringing at the time that I got to face where she's going to want to go out on her own. Or even when they go away to college, that's kind of like, oh my God, they're on their own. But in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we got to let them go. We got to let them fly. Just like our parents let us. Now, a lot of us got flown out start flying at an earlier age and for different circumstances. But I told my daughter, you can stay with us as long as you can. You can get that education, as long as you're getting that education. But, and trying to work towards something, you can stay with us for free. Come on, if we do need some help, we know you're going to be there. But my point is, you don't have to work. She doesn't have to work. We told her, do your school thing. Get out there and do what you got to do. And that's what I think a lot of parents, which is weird because she told us that a lot of parents are not that receptive to their children. I just believe you're supposed to help your kids as long as they need your help. As long as that's some bright ass lights somebody got on. That should be outlawed. They should be doing something about that. Anytime you see people with them bright lights, some of y'all probably got some bright ass lights, right? But anyway, I'm just saying, so this is too much. If you can see how you see it now, that's too much. You it is. But anyway, my thing is, she can stay with us as long as she wants to, until she graduates, until she's done with school and get her career, get jump started, things of that nature. We do want her to have a sense of responsibility, yes. Pay a bill or two if that may be needed. But right now, while she's just doing part-time and doing stuff like that, you don't have to do all that. Go to school. School is your job, And there's a lot of people that their parents are not that, forthcoming about that. And, I mean, it depends on the child, it depends on your circumstances, it depends on the parent, it depends on how you were raised. If you feel your child should, when they get older, they should help and go to school, I think that's a lot of pressure. I think that's just too much stress. School enough is stressful. Let them continue their education, how I feel. But anyway, I don't know how I got to that subject, but the thing is, it's about life and living. And some of you folks if you don't have kids and you're over 40, live your life. If you don't have kids and you're under 30 and you're under 40, live your life. Enjoy it. Stop all this work. And I know some people that are working double jobs, some people that are working 7 days a week and no extra curriculum, no life. I did that. I worked 2 jobs. Yeah, I did that for 17 years. And what got me out of that job was that it was a hospital I worked at. They got taken over by another one, and they downsized the lab. And they didn't need me. They didn't need a lot of us. And so one by one, after a while, they got rid of us. Now there's like 1 or 2 people. There's no one in the lab. But what they do is they go and collect the samples. And there is like a lab, but they collect the samples and then they take them back to the main hospital. It's now considered a second hospital. Like there's an east and a west. Well, the one I worked at has become the west. So now they don't have anyone in the lab at all. They've gotten rid of it because it was too much money, and so they figured take everything from the hospital and go to the other hospital. I don't know how that's working out, but anyway, but that had to show me, stop working double jobs, stop killing yourself. It even felt like during that time that my health was going down, and I didn't realize until after I got out of the job, then my health started feeling a lot better. And I was like, wow, I think I was getting sick. I think I was like coming down with something. I think, my health was just going. And not only that, it's just like, I don't know, it was just like a lot of time to me wasted on that second job. If you could get yourself a career and make enough money with one job, please do that. And we didn't live out of our means. We're not living out of our means. But the thing was, the neighborhood we live in, we're trying to pay for, knock on wood, safety and a peace of mind. It's kid friendly. This is Chicago. And so, Chicago has a reputation. But where I live it's in Chicago, but it's one of the safer parts of the city. I'm not saying safe is like, it's one of the safer far as, it has very low crime. But the thing is, it's not like some of the other lit up areas. And some of the other areas are lit. Where I work at around there is lit. As you can see, I work in a hospital. And around that area is lit. So there was a car that stopped before me and it was just sitting there waiting. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it. But anyway, so Chicago is lit. Can be lit. It's summertime. The day is like 90, 80, 80 degrees right now. And it's like, 12 o'clock at night. And Chicago can be lit. So my thing is, we wanted to stay in the city itself. Didn't want to go to the suburb because there's plenty of suburbs to go to, but we didn't want to go to the suburbs and we wanted to stay in the city. And where I live at is pretty much a decent area in the city. And the thing is, you're going to pay for peace of mind, you're going to pay for safety, you're going to pay for the better quality of whatever it is. And that's what, how I started what we were doing. As you get older, I think you should downsize because the kids are going to be gone. You don't need a bigger space as you used to, unless you just really want to keep that to the day you die. But for us, we feel like the space we have is a little bit too big, and maybe eventually in the next couple of years we may downsize. We're not sure yet, but that's sort of the plan because, we don't need all the space that we have. We're trying to minimize ourselves, and not be, carrying a whole bunch of stuff like we do. But anyway, as you get older, enjoy yourself. Work on yourself. Work on your health, especially your health. We are losing too many people, man, to senseless health issues that could have been avoided just by doing simple things as stop eating certain stuff, stop eating at night, do a little bit more exercise, whether it's walking, whether it's casually swimming somewhere, but move around. I do a lot of skating. I go to a lot of parties to dance. I do some exercising. I haven't done it in a while, but I do it. But but my eating habit has gotten a lot better. All this, if you stop eating sugary snacks and sugary stuff and sugary that and all that, and process this and process that, your weight will significantly go down. I guarantee you. I've done it twice. I'm on the second round of doing it. I do eat. Don't get me wrong. I do eat sweets. I love sweets. I love sweets. Milk chocolate. Oh man, I'm a chocoholic. But I try to. I don't eat it as much as I used to. I'm actually going right now to go get me some chocolate because I haven't had. Well, I take that back. I haven't had what I'm going to get in a while. I want. You know what I want? I want those turtles. You remember turtles? Oh man, with chocolate and pecans and the caramel. Yeah, I got a taste for that. But anyway, we're losing too many people to senseless stuff that are in the age bracket. If you're 50 and older, to these different ailments, diabetes, losing people to cancer, to what else? To heart attacks, strokes, you name it. And a lot of these things are unavoidable, and it sometimes, are not avoidable, but sometimes it is unavoidable depending on how our quality of life is and what we're doing in our lives. If you're not doing anything to help better your life, your physical being, then of course you're going to go down early. And I say this because I don't think I would have gotten to the age I am now hadn't it been for me being health conscious about certain foods, certain things that I need to do in life, and even getting sleep. I'm still working on getting sleep because now sometimes I have the phone, I get to scrolling and then get to watching movies and get to doing this and doing that and Facebook and YouTube, and I'm saying I get on there, get to scrolling, and come on, most of y'all know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, you got to let that go. I think my eyes are going bad because of the phone. At night when you be on the phone, my eyes started to me getting bad. I'm thinking, is it radiation or something? From the phone or something. I don't know. But my thing is, we need to do things to better the quality of our lives. And a lot of people could have avoided a lot of ailments had they just done the right thing, the things that they needed to do, that they know they needed to do. You have a lot of people out here that are diabetics and all these other things, and they still drink and still eat sweets and still do that. And I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to stop doing it, because it's not. But my point is, if you're going to choose to die and to be sick just because you want that quick fix, and you know what, I ain't trying to contradict myself, but I'm just saying, you want these quick fixes, but you're not your health is failing, and some people, it's more important for them to have their quick fix than to get their health together. And I think a lot of us that are getting older, we're and I don't want to say that it's certain ethnic groups, because it's everybody. I see everybody at different ethnic groups, different ages, who are not faring well with life because you're choosing all these other things instead of your life. And then you got people too with lung cancers, with this and that, because they smoke and all this other stuff. And I know some people, and I don't want to say who they are, but I know some people who passed away from lung cancer. And I think they would have had longer life had they stopped smoking, maybe even 15 years ago, 10 years ago. They would have never developed the lung cancer. And it's not surprising they caught lung cancer because they were such big smokers. And so think about it. If they didn't smoke, then they would have never had the lung cancer. So, I was just trying to read something for is it Lebanbo? And you said yes, yes. And John, yeah. Going to Jerry Nugent. Yeah, but we got all these ailments and all these things that are happening, and we're not doing nothing about it. Um, me, I'm gonna go in here and get me something, some chocolate, and then I'm gonna be chilling from sweets for a minute. I think if I have any, it'll be like I said. I eat in moderation anyway. All right, but like, subscribe. Thank you for liking, though, the ones that did like. I hope this was helpful. I just felt like I had to get on here and say something about this because, well, Malcolm Jamal Warner, may he rest in peace. His was an accident. I hope, allegedly, it was an accident, and hopefully, you know, some of us go on vacations or do things, and we don't have accidents that take us out. It can happen to any of the best of us. And yeah, they said he was swimming in some currents. A current took him out or something like that, out in the more out, and he drowned. Um, it's a tragedy. It's tragic. Any death is tragic. I knew a young cat that passed away of cancer. Didn't know he had cancer, but it's like you see people all the time. You know people that you see the know of, and we think they're so strong and they are, like, mentally, physically, and spiritually. They're strong people, and then they have some ailment that takes them out, and you're like, holy crap. And it makes you, like, really think about mortality and think about your mortality and your age, um, because like people always say, if you get to like 45 or 40 or maybe even 50, you're like, hey, the majority right now, the majority of my life I lived, and then from this point forward might be a lesser part of my life statistically. And then who knows, maybe from this point I might live another 50 years, I might live another 40 years, but you don't know. But the likelihood of living a longer life is less than it is when you're 20 or when you're in your teens. So from this point, you people that are in your 40s, I would say even late 30s, let's say 40s on up, especially 50-year-olds, we need to start taking care of ourselves. We need to start getting out there and do what we have to do. Even you 20, 30, 40-year-olds. I've been exercising forever since I was like 10. And so, like I said, I think if I hadn't had those values of doing that, I would have been gone a long time ago, or I wouldn't have lasted this long, or I would have a lot of ailments right now piled up on me. If you start now, you can still make your life longer. You can still create a better quality of life for yourself, and maybe dodge out something that would have taken you out. So you all should get on that. You know, that's just my little assessment of it. All right. So like, subscribe, and tune in again. I have other videos. You can check those out. They're very enlightening, I think. Only because it comes from my heart, comes from, you know, it's not, what I'm doing is not rehearsed. It's just something that just kind of hit me, all of a sudden, that I wanted to mention. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.